Hey Cam, John Huang, Nolan Group Media. Just wanted to get a quick update on your foot. And Are you prepared? How many minutes are you prepared to go tomorrow?
I'm prepared for as much as Pope wants me to play. I always I worked hard to get back to the court as fast and as best possible shape that I can. Sitting out those 6 weeks was definitely tough, but it definitely opened my eyes a lot more to the game of basketball. And I'm glad that the staff allowed me to get back as fast as I could.
Caroline Mikauskis, Lexington Herald Leader. Malachi, yesterday, first tournament game, first tournament start. Can you kind of talk us through the emotions of that and if anything maybe caught you off guard in the experience?
It was definitely crazy. Being a little kid, making all these brackets, watching all these games, it was definitely like a dream come true. I think the only thing that caught me unexpected was I didn't really understand what the atmosphere would be. I mean, you can only hear so much noise on the TV, so hearing it in person was definitely a crazy feeling, and that saw what happened yesterday. So just something you always expect, that March Madness.
In the back on the left.
Yeah, Daryl Bird, Cats, Pause, and Lexington. For Colin, the ending last night was so iconic, so crazy, so emotional. How do you guys kind of, to flush that and start over knowing you got Iowa State coming?
I don't know if it's a complete flush. I think it's good for us to take the momentum of last game into the next game. But it's a restart 0-0, so we have to come out with hopefully that momentum to carry us into this game.
Right-hand side, gentlemen.
Tyler Thompson, Kentucky Sports Radio. This is for all three of you. What were your reaction to Otega's shot, and how many times have you watched the replay since?
Malachi, we're going to start with you. We're going to come this way towards me.
I thought it was crazy, being in a moment like that. And, I mean, we practice those shots at shoot-around, so, once the ball hit his hands, I knew it was going in because he's usually the one that makes them. So
It was great because obviously it advanced us to overtime, which ultimately helped us win the game. So it was definitely crazy. And I seen it on my For You page on TikTok and stuff like 20 times already. So
Yeah, it's been all over my social media as well. I've been a part of a few moments like that with bleeding into last year, and so it kind of felt like the one in the SEC tournament last year where O got the ball, and it's kind of like I'm sitting there watching as much as the people on the TV, just waiting for him to make a play. And so I thought it was cool to live another one of those moments with him.
Right back here. Thank you.
Guys, as far as the matchups tomorrow, we hear a lot about individual matchups, but where do you think you guys have an advantage?
We're going to start with Colin this time and go the other way.
It depends really. We're going through a bunch of different lineups. I'm sure they're mixing up lineups too. They play a pretty deep bench, maybe 9 guys, something like that. And so I think that's ever changing throughout the game. But they play a very aggressive style, and so I think if we can match that aggressiveness on offense that they play with defense, then we can use it to an advantage for us.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of to piggyback off of what he said, they're definitely an aggressive team on offense and defense. So definitely we need to match their physicality, and I feel like if we match their physicality and also limit our turnovers, because they're an aggressive defensive team, like I said. So just protect the ball as best we can and limit our turnovers, and I feel like all of our chances.
Just like they said, they're very aggressive. They make plays on the ball a lot. I think they're a top 5 team on defense in the country. They led the Big 12 in turnovers and points off turnovers. So protecting the ball is definitely going to be a big key factor for us. But I also think we've been battle tested all year, and I think that's kind of an advantage we have. We've seen a lot of different situations and a lot of different scenarios, and we've gone through them together. So there's not really much to be unexpected. We expect a lot, and we see different things. So I think we prepare.
In the back.
Yeah, for all three guys, especially Cam, how much does it resonate with you guys that you're part of March Madness, you get to play, and yet Jalen Lowe can't play, JQ can't play? How does it resonate with all of y'all?
Yeah, Cam first, then Colin, and Malachi.
I say it's definitely an experience that I wish that they had the opportunity to have. It's definitely once in a lifetime, but we're definitely playing as hard as we can for them because they're not capable of playing right now. So definitely them sharing with us how important it is to keep dancing. So definitely makes us play a lot harder. And we also want to play for, our BBN fans, our families. Everyone has a motivation, but we have an extra motivation because we have 2 players that are not allowed to play right now. So
I think they've come into their role. Like our whole team has had to find roles, and they've found a role that impacts winning from being on the bench and supporting us that way. I think they help us win games, and they're here to experience that. They're experiencing it with us, and their contributions, although media or fans might not understand what they bring to our team, it's definitely felt, and I think they're helping us win games.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Colin said, even though they can't play right now, they still show up every day ready to work. I'm sure most of y'all have seen anytime we go into a timeout, J-Lo's always the first one to come and speak. So that just goes to show that even though he can't play, he's still here to help us win. And just having those 2 around, it's almost like having more coaches because they can help see the floor a lot, especially J-Lo. And with him being a point guard, he sees a lot of things on the floor that not everybody else would see. And then JQ's just always talking on the bench, letting us know what he's seeing, and then we're able to apply that to the game in real time.
Go back. Yeah, follow up back there.
Yeah, for Cam, from my vantage point, taking photos, there was a timeout late, and all the coaches gather over here in huddle. It looked like J-Lo just took control and said, "It's do or die. It's this," and just was really letting you guys have it. Am I correct?
yeah, that's definitely correct. He's definitely, like you said, a player coach type thing. He definitely repeats everything that Pope or anybody on the staff tells us. So having a leader like him definitely makes everyone's job easier, for sure.
We have 10 minutes to go in this session. Next question's right here.
All 3 of you have mentioned how aggressive Iowa State is going to be, so evidently that's a talking point. Is it more important to make sure you guys do what you do well, or to make sure that you respond to what they do well?
Colin?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they bring it to you, right? Which triggers a response. But I think we can be aggressive in that response. I think that not letting them slow us down, or not letting them speed us up, rather, I think is the emphasis made is play our game through what. Don't let them dictate what we do, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, co-sign what he said. Really I feel like we just throw the first punch kind of thing. I feel like we can dictate the game because you allow the other team to dictate the game. You're kind of, I guess, countering off of what they're doing. But if you're the aggressor, then you kind of control the entirety of the game. So we just do what we do well, like you said, and we're going to come up with the victory.
Yeah, just like what they said, it's definitely going to take a little bit of both. And like what Coach Fox says before every game and before every scout, he says we got to be the hammer, not the nail. So just being able to bring that aggressiveness and kind of just match their intensity and just really key in on what we do well and just make plays for each other. And I think we're in a good spot.
Anything else for the Wildcats? Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. You are excused. Good luck tomorrow. We'll have head coach Mark Pope here at 1:55 sharp.
We're excited to have a shot at playing tomorrow again. This is a terrific team that we get to play. It's going to be a great battle. They had a big-time win last night. I've known TJ for a long time. He does an unbelievable job, and it should be a great game.
Start right here on the aisle.
Cam Drummond with the Herald Leader. Mark, it seems like every time you look up, Momcilovic for Iowa State is banging in a 3 or putting up shots from deep. What will it take to contain him tomorrow? And just anytime an opponent has that kind of a prolific three-point shooter, what are the defensive principles that you lean on to try and limit their success?
Yeah, he's put up staggering numbers. I think he's close to 253s on the season, shooting 50%. It's really, really impressive. Has got to put him in rarefied air. I don't know where that stands with anybody else in the country. And he does it, they earn him a lot of shots. with their pace. They earn them shots with actions. He earns himself shots by being an elite level screener and a relocator. And so it's got to be a little bit of team effort. Of course, there'll be guys who have matchup assignments, but also the communication is going to be key. Us being solid in ball protection is going to be key. Us being good on the glass is going to be key because he's so functional off, earning threes off offensive rebounds and off cuts and in transition. So it'll be individual and team effort.
Daryl Burr with the Cats, Paws, and Lexington. Mark, kind of a broader question. As a player, you reached the pinnacle of March Madness. Now you're coaching in it. Do you get more satisfaction from coaching in March Madness or playing, or what are the differences?
I don't know if it's more or less, but I do know as a player, you're having so much of your own experience. You're sharing it with your brothers, but it's so much of it's your own experience. As a coach, you are spending your time trying to mentor every single one of your guys through it. So there's maybe more breadth in it, but it's a beautiful thing, I think, as a player and a coach, and I don't know if there's anything that quite compares.
We're here on the left side, and then back to you. Go.
Tyler Thompson, Kentucky Sports Radio. Obviously, Otega's shot was just huge. It was such a big emotional moment. As a coach, how do you balance letting your team enjoy that and kind of live in the moment a little bit and then preparing for the next game?
That's it. That is one of the great challenges of this tournament, right? And so I think we did it the way we kind of have done this all season long. We've had some wide swings this year, and I think our guys are pretty adept at it, actually. And so we were here. We finished with meeting, went back to the hotel, had a nice meal with the guys, met and did a little debrief on the game yesterday, threw up some graphics and talked about some highlight moments and enjoyed the emotion together. And then it was like, it's time to put it to bed because we would prefer for this not to be the end of this journey. We'd actually like this to motivate us to want more, to be greedy. And our guys are good at it. Our team has learned through all of the twists and turns of the season to be pretty good at putting away whatever just happened, whether it was great or whether it was not so great, and moving on to the next thing. So it actually it hasn't been a really hard process for our team because they have a lot of experience with it.
Okay, we're here. We're back there for 2. We are 3 here and 4.5, and 5 over here. Go.
CJ Moore with The Athletic. Curious, in this era, ADs, donors are really kind of been impatient with coaches, and the shelf life is always the longest. How has that maybe impacted how you roster build or how maybe everybody nationally is kind of roster building, and how you look at it because of the way a lot of programs are handling head coaches?
Clearly, I can't speak for any other program. I don't know if that change has had anything to do with the way we're trying to do it here. Our assignment and expectation is to win at the highest level every single year, to do everything we can to do that. And so, we're always thinking long term, and we're always very focused on the exact moment that we're in right now. I don't think that those things have changed that at all.
Coach, do you prepare any differently with the Jefferson injury situation? How does that affect the next 24 hours for your team?
Yeah, it's we'll prepare as if he's playing. You go through this throughout the season where you're kind of preparing for multiple potential opponents. The great thing about Iowa State, and I think what TJ's done so masterfully at Iowa State, is they have such an ingrained identity of who they are. Clearly, Jefferson is a massive key to what they do, and so understand, I would he's a special player, but Iowa State's going to be Iowa State. Whoever TJ rolls out on the court, you could probably go grab 5 guys from the rec center and give them a week, and they would come out there and just be a incredibly intense defensive juggernaut that was finding ways to score in big ways. So we'll prepare. We're preparing for what what Iowa State is, and certainly preparing for him being in the game and out of the game, and that's it's pretty much what we're doing.
Hey, Mark, John Huang, NOLA Media. You've spoken throughout the year about the importance of trust in a game like tomorrow where it's going to be chaotic and they're going to throw a lot of things at you. What do you trust most about your team?
Well, I trust our guys' ability to kind of move on to the next play. That's been a huge staple for us. I think, one of the things that Iowa State does really well is they just make everything hard and frustrating. It's one of the beautiful things that they do, and our guys are pretty good at enduring hard and frustrating. And so I have a lot of confidence in the fact that as we go from possession to possession and minute to minute and media timeout to media timeout, that our guys will respond and respond and respond again, and they won't get bogged down in frustration. It won't make them go sideways. It won't send them a different direction. They'll just kind of keep coming back and refocusing, and I think that gives us a great chance to compete well in the game.
In the back on the left.
Yeah, Zach Osman, USA Today. You talked, and your players did too, about, I think, a huddle. Brandon kind of, if not took over, he spoke up and sort of said, I'd like to make this change, but in the way you were handling pick and pops, like how does a player, from your perspective as a coach, kind of earn the right to speak up at that level in a huddle, and how often do you want them, once maybe they have that trust, to use their voice and to say, I think we should try this sort of adjustment?
Yeah, we're very much I'm a huge believer in the best teams are player-led teams. I'm a huge believer in that, and it's a process. You have to be brave to speak up as a player. One, you have to be really invested, right? And you've got to be locked in, and then you have to be really brave to do it, and then over time you earned credibility from your teammates. To be listened to, because that's actually a real thing too. There's a lot of times we're encouraging our guys to talk, but it's just a question of how much the group is willing to listen. It's like any organization that's working. And so, Brandon is, man, you talk about, he's had really frustrating moments for him, moments that have been personally frustrating for him, but watching him grow even more as a man, even more than how he's grown on the court, has been nothing short of astonishing. And I know, there's a lot of stuff that people don't see because they just see him on the court. But it's been remarkable to watch him grow. I couldn't be more proud of him. And he's, we either use this game or we get used by this game, and he's using this game right now to help him grow into a really special human being. And so you feel that in moments like that where he's like, hey, this is a place where my team needs me to step up, and he's doing it. It's pretty fun to watch.
We are straight back, and then right here. Go.
Hey, Coach. Ben Hutchins from the Quad City Times. What are the keys to matching the physicality that T.J. Otzelberger's teams tend to play with?
Yeah, it's I've had a chance to coach teams against TJ's teams, and it's they're some of my favorite games. They're relentless, and he's got unbelievable leadership on his team, and they got incredible toughness, and I think that stems from his personality as a head coach. He's really ingrained that on his guys, and so that it's going to be a wholehearted blood, sweat, and tears endeavor, and it makes the games really fun, and so I look forward to these games so much, not because there's anything easy about them, but because they're so hard. They make them really special.
Right here on the aisle, we're halfway through this session. Go ahead.
Mark, I think we're probably about a month into Malachi specifically being like really top line on opponent scouting reports after that first Florida game. And obviously he's dealing with so much going through all this process, SEC tournament, NCAA as a freshman for the first time. Have you seen him handle, I guess, kind of the ups and downs of his performance as of late? And where do you, I guess, rely on him the most to kind of come through for you guys in a big way tomorrow?
Yeah, so Malachi, his care is on an elite level. Like he cares. He cares about his teammates. He cares about playing great. He cares about winning. He cares about Kentucky. And he cares deeply. And so, you see that manifest out. It's actually peaked as you get to the end of the season. And, we've talked about how steady he's been and how consistent he's been for a freshman. It's really remarkable, and how vocal he is and how smart he is and what a leader is. And we're seeing all those things come through.
Right here, John. Go ahead.
Mark, when the guys were out here on the dais, they gave great answers about the importance of staying aggressive. That with Iowa State, they're going to make you turn the ball over, and it's not so much a matter of avoiding turnovers, but in kind of imposing your will. Can you just kind of expound on that? I assume that message came from you.
Yeah, we're big believers in that you want to meet force with force. Everywhere you can, and it's back to the simple idea of, if you're trying to protect the ball, you protect the ball by being more aggressive and more decisive and more forceful rather than actually thinking about protect the ball, right? When you want to make a play for teammates, you think about getting downhill and getting to 2 feet and being vicious more than you do about just making a quick, easy play and a pass. And so, when you play great teams like this team, it's all about being as aggressive as you can with some intelligence, right? And staying in character, being aggressive within your own character. And those are kind of high-level concepts without getting into specifics, but in a general sense, it's going to be where this game has got to be played for us to be successful.
Next question is right in the middle here on the left side.
Hey, Mark, Jeff Pecoro, ABC Sports Lexington. You talked a little bit about Jefferson, also BG and Malachi. What's the importance of you guys establishing an inside game tomorrow against this team?
Well, they make it really difficult because they'll come double team every single post catch. So sets make that complicated. But our guys are elite level passers, so I think we'll have some play there. They're one of the ways you establish an inside presence is on the glass, and they're really physical. So that's just going to be a battle, right? To do that, you impose your will as a rim protector and taking up space in the lane, moving bodies, and that'll be another battlefront. All those things will be really important for us to find some life in, and I think our guys are prepared to do it.
Straight back, Gina.
Yeah, Mark, I should ask you a follow-up about playing versus coaching. I assume it's like parenting. It's much more nerve-wracking to be the coach.
You know what? I think when you do it well, I think there's some peace there. I think when you do it well, I think there's some peace. I think when you can find a space where you're really focused, I think the best coaches find a space where they're really focused on the process and not completely weighed down by the outcome. I think that leads to better outcomes. I'll float wildly between the two, where I'm consumed with the outcome and sometimes where I can stay focused on the process. But I actually think when you're doing it right, when you can be really focused on the process and really focused on trying to understand what your guys need in the moment and really dive in there, I feel like it doesn't feel frantic or overwhelming at all. It feels pretty peaceful, and it feels like you're just working towards putting your guys in the best position to play. I think outside of the court, I think it feels more like a parent. As you're watching your guys try and grow and figure out life, and how, in our case, figure out how to be great men and figure out how to build lives that are meaningful and fulfilling. I think that part feels more like the parenting part, where you worry.
5 minutes to go. Next question's on the aisle.
Hi, Coach. Alec Bussey, 24/7 Sports. You mentioned process and outcome there and swinging between the two. Why are you vulnerable enough to be able to admit that sometimes you swing more towards being outcome-based instead of process-based, when you also say that the coaches who are most successful focus on process and dive into that more than anything?
Because I'm not very smart, pretty unfiltered. I think the best part of this game gets pretty boring when it doesn't have any way to grow you or teach you. And I think we talk about this a lot with our local media, but humility, people that are humble are the people that can grow the fastest and grow the most. And so, there's no shame in not being perfect in this game. That's actually being probably pretty authentic and real.
Mark Story, Lexington Herald Leader. Obviously, Iowa State has the leading three-point shooter in the country, and he is 6'8". Your wings are 6'4", 6'5". What's the key to making him uncomfortable when he's taller?
Yeah, so you gotta hit in a bunch of different ways. You know, you'd like to be there where he doesn't get any rhythm. Like you'd like to take away his rhythm as much as you can. One of the things that's probably underappreciated about him is how physical he is. You know, he owns his line coming off screens, and that's hard to do in this game, especially with how physical the game is right now. But he's able to maintain his line coming off screens. He gets shoulder to shoulder on screens, and so any chance you have to kind of disrupt his flow is going to be really, really important. You know, can you play with him a little bit on the carry? You know, he's got this really brilliant kind of Dirk fade where he likes to play that's really hard to get to. So you just want to be as disruptive as you can. You want to find ways to contest as a second jumper, contest his shots the best that you can. You'd like to find ways to attack him on the offensive end a little bit, which is hard to do with this team because there's such a fundamentally team concepted defense. But anytime you can bring a little bit of discomfort, it'll serve you well.
Question straight back.
Hey, Mark, Cole Park with the Cat's Paws. In the locker room, I was talking to some of the players about how you guys haven't played Iowa State yet, but you guys were able to draw kind of a comparison to a team maybe you played last year. How helpful is that comparison and kind of helping those guys, especially the returners, to understand their assignment better?
Yeah, you know, it's one of the great things about a season. It just gives you more frames of reference. You know, our communication improves so much through the season because now we have experience to match with the words we say, and you can point to an experience a player had or a scheme that we faced or, a style of play that we faced, and the guys have a little more understanding. So every game you play adds to that little background and knowledge.
John?
Mark, when Ortega hit that shot, you kind of had your poker face, your next play face on. Were you able to actually really experience the joy that you brought to the entire Big Blue Nation afterwards?
Yeah, you know what? Those are things that we'll enjoy later. I think a little bit later, and certainly we enjoy them in the moment. I mean, I certainly enjoyed that thoroughly in the moment. It was just we had a lot more business to try and take care of at that moment. But that's our job is to be very focused on kind of what's next, like what we do next, and you know, as a team and as a coaching staff, we're sometimes more successful or less successful than that. But when you have emotional swings like that, I think your team needs a little bit of a steadying force. I think it's really important. I think it's really, really important to move on to the next thing. And so I probably enjoyed that moment more deeply than maybe only a handful of people. But it was also on to the next thing. They're both true.
Mark, time's up for this session. We
Thanks, guys.
appreciate your time, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, bud.
Kentucky, Iowa State at 11:10. We'll have the Iowa